Welcome to the Ruralpreneur podcast. Today I've got Hannah Gambe with me, and we are going to talk about her career, how she got into it, why she loves living in a small town, and how she is growing her business using digital tools and e-commerce. So, Hannah, thank you so much for coming on with us. How's it going today?
I'm good. It's so exciting to be here and chat with you today.
Awesome.
We've got a lot to chat about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell me real quick, what do you do in simple terms?
I work in the American trucking industry, teaching others how to work from home as dispatchers and brokers. And
Gotcha. So
yeah,
basically, they can send trucks from point A to point B, work from home, make their own money that way, right?
yep, we're the
Gotcha.
operations.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. And so how did you get into the trucking industry originally? Like what kind of got you excited about learning about that?
It's so weird. And I understand that that's like not something people get like super passionate about. I'm not saving lives or, that kind of thing. But I really was unexpected to join this industry as I was finishing my senior year of college as I was going to become a traditional teacher. And I realized that I wanted more flexibility. And I actually had the opportunity to work for my dad's company, and that was a trucking company in Dallas, Texas. And we grew two of those logistics companies together. And when we grew those companies, I realized that the knowledge that I was learning could be duplicated and I could teach other people how to do that.
Nice. So it sounds like you really have a passion for teaching, not necessarily for trucking.
Yes, and just being a part of the bigger picture.
Yeah, you like trucking, but teaching's your gift.
Yeah, trucking's just the source.
Right. I understand. Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah. So let's see. So you've been in the trucking industry for a while, learned the ropes maybe from your dad, helped him grow some companies. You like to teach people about this. So, tell me more about what you're doing today exactly. Like, what is your current business, and what exactly are you doing? How are you teaching people to do this?
So I own logistics management services, and I have a variety of services that we offer. The coolest part about what I offer is that we really get in one-on-one with students on helping make a difference in their goals. Every student that I've worked with over 250 students just in the
Wow.
past year alone. And what I do with each and every one of them is build a customized learning program. So what one person might know might be a different foundation than the next person. So one of the things that I learned from learning how to be an educator is adapting to different learning styles and really just kind of helping those that want to be successful as a stepping stone, as a mentor. And that's really the value that we bring as a mentorship type
That's
of
awesome.
program.
Yeah, so you're doing all of this over the internet. You're creating custom, personalized learning solutions for individuals. They're wanting to work from home. And so tell me this then. Tell me about the town you live in. How many people live there?
Yes, I'm in Natchez, Mississippi, and we have about 13,000 people. And it feels like way smaller than that, but we're right on the Mississippi River. And I grew up here, and I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 13 years, and I got to experience the big city life. But I always had that heart for a small town. And when I came back home this past February, it just felt right. And I knew that we were meant to be here this whole time. But as a small town girl, I watched my grandparents as entrepreneurs grow their companies. And I really just enjoyed watching the freedom that entrepreneurs have. And that's kind of what I strive after as well, for myself as a business owner.
Nice, nice. So we all, I mean, we have a shared love of living in a small town, obviously, and we're seeking to grow our businesses and kind of be able to still live, here in these communities because 20, 30 years ago, it would have been really challenging for you to have a business training people how to be in the logistics and trucking industry from, little Natchez, Mississippi. I mean, could it have been possible? Yes, but with the internet, of course, that makes it a lot easier with
Mhm.
today's tools and with e-commerce, right? So yeah, that's pretty neat. So, tell me, like, what was a moment, kind of a defining moment for you that when you knew you were meant to be a teacher in the trucking world, that you were meant to kind of not just go work for the man, quote unquote, but to actually go out there on your own, be an entrepreneur, and kind of pursue your own path.
Yeah, it was just recent actually. I had that realization a couple of months ago back in April. I worked for a very large logistics software company, and I was traveling a lot, and it was very corporate America. And I had come from, straight out of college and working with my dad. I had a lot of flexibility. So I was so smitten that this large logistics company wanted to hire me. And so I was gung ho at first, and I was like, oh, I'm going to retire from this company, have all the best benefits in the world. And it turns out I just wasn't meant for that type of environment. And it was really hard for me to try to adapt to that environment, but it was ultimately crushing to my motivation and inspiration and goals. How can you have your own individual path when you are in a cookie cutter type of position in corporate America? So, long story short, I actually realized that that was coming to an end and that was not serving me as a corporate person. And I had this moment. It was just kind of crazy. I was leaving the cloud, the company I worked for. I had traveled a ton. And so my Uber driver came to pick me up for the airport, and I had just been crying. It was an awful day at the office. And I got in the car, and she was so sweet. And I was like, are you ready to be my therapist? Because I don't know you and you don't know me, and I'm just going to let you have it. And so I just started jibber jabbering away and talking about random stuff she probably didn't even notice. But she did notice, because she stopped and she said, I don't know why I feel really led to tell you this, but I actually am a survivor of pancreatic cancer. My grandmother had just passed away that previous year from pancreatic cancer, and it's like unheard of to be a survivor of that type of cancer. So she said, randomly shared with me that she had pancreatic cancer, and so that's why she was driving for Uber, and that she hasn't found the right opportunity at all. And
Wow.
she said, one of my friends is a truck driver, and he told me something about being a trucker manager. I think that's what she said. She didn't really know that it was called dispatcher. And so I was like, have you independent dispatching? And she said, yeah, that's it. And I just started crying because she didn't know who I was prior to my corporate experience, which I did have an educational services company that did the exact same thing in Oklahoma. I just shut it down to go work for the big man, and it didn't work out. So it was like that sign for me, like I was closing that door. This lady came across my path, and it was just like confirmation that I was on the right journey. And the coolest part is that she is a student of mine to this day and successfully working from home. And she does not drive for Uber anymore.
That's incredible. And I mean, those are the kind of stories that I probably get us up in the morning, probably like you. It's like, hey, this is why I do what I do. This is why I love it. Right. And so, I mean, that's just an incredible story. And I've got some of those myself, that I'll never forget, and reasons why, I do what I do. But yeah, I think it's fascinating that you have an educational company from home, you get on Zoom, you get in Facebook groups, you have these trainings, and you're able to teach people all over the country how they can work from home as well. And you're able to do that in a small town and maintain the quality of life that you desire for you and your family. And over 250 students, I mean, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be able to have that kind of impact and empower other people to work from home, even if they live in a small town, a big town, whatever it may be. I really admire that. So congrats
Yeah, if
on that.
you have
That's
the internet.
incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Like, if you have the internet, that the world is at your fingertips. And like,
Mhm.
just today alone, I had 4 new students start, one from California, one from Missouri, 2 from New Jersey. And it's just really cool. Like, I would have never met these people in our small town grocery store,
Yeah.
and think that is just like, you never know. And like, you're one small or big connection away from blowing things up for yourself. And I really value the network that I've built, for sure.
Wow. That's awesome. So the last thing I want to ask you today is give our listeners, and myself included, I guess, one really easy to apply marketing tip or trick or sales tip or trick, a way that you can scale your business that doesn't cost much. It's easy to implement, just takes a little bit of effort, just takes you executing and getting started. Give me one kind of marketing tip that you think anybody can apply in their business and see immediate results from.
Okay, so When you think about marketing materials, you actually, there's tons that probably come to mind. And one of the strategies I literally just used today, and it sounds silly because it might not be like a certain tip or trick defined specifically, but it's more about your approach. So I believe in personable approaches, relatable experiences with people. But ultimately, when you take your marketing, your generic marketing material, like your business cards or any kind of visual aid that promotes your business, what I love to do is get these people on the phone and connect and introduce myself, really build those connections, even if they don't respond to my messages or they don't respond to any ads that I've posted. If they're in my network and we can collaborate, I'm going to give you a phone call and I'm going
Yeah.
to chat with you like you're my friend and we've known each other for 10 years. And if I could tell you guys anything, it would just be to really value the connections that you build with people and make sure you're investing in the right connections that help you grow. And it's a two-way street. But ultimately, the marketing side, you're branding yourself as a personable educator or business owner, and that is really valuable to how you brand your company.
Yeah, so get on the phone with people, reach out, talk to them, be a human.
Be personable.
I know it's easy to hide behind a screen these days. With the advent of technology, and we've kind of grown up with it. You and I are in the same generation; we're kind of the same age, and but even younger kids and even in their 20s now, they've grown up behind a screen, and we've kind of forgotten a lot of that human connection and how
Mhm.
long of a way it can go, especially with salespeople. They used to always have to get in front of people and get on the phone. There was no, back in the day, there was no
Door
email,
to
there was
door.
no, text message and social media and things like that. And I think in a way, that's how we can stand out is by being a person, getting in front of people, showing our face and talking to them, even through Zoom calls or, what have you. It's still a personal connection, even if we're not in the same room. It forces you to be attentive. It forces you to really connect and invest with that person instead of just shooting off some kind of impersonal email or scripted thing, I guess you
Yeah,
would say.
connect.
Yeah, we're still
Connect.
people, and that's the thing is people buy from people, and so to kind of expand on your point, now that I'm thinking about this, people connect with people, they buy from people, and so think about today, like influencer marketing. Like we still buy from people. Influencer marketing is huge right now. We pay somebody who has a large audience to get out there and to sell a product for us or promote a product for us, and it's because they have this large audience, and it's because people have connected with them, even if it wasn't a phone call, but they've connected through video or some form of getting to know that person. It wasn't just because of something they read usually, but seeing a video, seeing a social media account, seeing them on TV and what have you. And so when that influencer gets out there and addresses their audience and says, "Hey, you need to check this thing out," those people already feel connected with them, and that's a efficient way of selling instead of some just Facebook ad in the feed with some picture on it or text copy, what have you. So yeah, I can see how connecting with people. I know I took your point a little sideways, but
No,
it's still similar. It's still a similar approach, right?
no,
It's
I'm
still
a
connecting with
person,
people.
not a robot, and
Right.
I'm not AI. I want people to see, the first thing I did on a cold call today. Hey, I know it's really early on a Monday morning and nobody wants to be here. Like just make
Yeah.
them laugh or like just break the ice and be like, look, this is what we got to do, and we might as well enjoy it together, and connect and help each other.
Well, and think about this too. Saying, "Hey, it's first thing Monday morning. I know, nobody. We're all waking up. We're still getting going. You're kind of breaking. It's kind of like an icebreaker. You're kind of breaking down that barrier a little bit and making it human. And then they're going to be more receptive to hear what you say instead of it just being some cookie cutter
Mhm.
phone call or email. Like cold people that cold email me and I have no clue who they are. I usually hit block sender on those. Like I don't
Right.
even entertain it. Right.
Mhm.
And I know cold email as outreach is a form of marketing, but if I can open an email and immediately tell if it's like personally written or if it's just
Mhm.
some cookie cutter thing. And so we all have to get better at our messaging and the ways that we message, which really is probably the core even point of what you just said there. So, anyways,
Well,
uh,
I think you do a great job of that, by the way. And like you're like, hey, it's Tans here. it's so like down to earth, in your
Yeah.
emails.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
relatable.
it's a human. It's a human here.
Mhm,
Like, I did write that email. I typed
mhm.
it out. Hey, it's me, and we're not just being so, I don't know, formal or just absent from it, right? And on this, on the concept of this entire project is small town and rural entrepreneurs, which we haven't talked about a ton on today's episode, but I think that this is something that people who live in small towns and rural communities are still really good at, more so than people who live in big cities, which is connecting with each other and having community and hanging out and getting to know each other and having to talk to each other and connect. Because we also know that, in small towns and rural communities, we can't just burn a lot of bridges. We have to keep the
Build a
peace.
reputation.
We have to sell to each other. We have to get out there and coexist and live together. And we can't burn bridges. We're in a big city. We might say, oh, that didn't work out. We got to move on. So I think we also have a unique or a leg up on maybe others who aren't in the same situation. So that's something we should use to our advantage to grow our businesses and scale and move forward. So,
Yeah,
all right.
the hospitality behind like small towns is just
Yeah.
unbeatable. And coming
Mhm.
from a bigger city myself, like it was really, yes, you would have different opportunities and a wide variety of things, but at the end of the day, like it's all about who you connect with in your heart and who you like to be around,
Yeah.
and not a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, I like hospitality. That was a good way of putting it. That's something that we, I think, have a lot of in our smaller communities. So, well, Hannah, I appreciate you coming on today. It was fun to
Thanks for
talk and
having
hear more
me.
about you and hear about the success of building a really cool educational company in a small town and using the internet to create a life and an income for yourself and your family and to move forward. That's what this whole thing's about. So I appreciate you sharing that with us and wish you a ton of success as you continue to grow and scale.
Thanks.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening today or watching, however you chose to consume this content. If you think that there's somebody in your network that you know who might get a lot of value out of this, who would enjoy listening to something like this, getting inspired, and learning how other people who live in small towns and rural communities are growing their businesses on a daily basis, be sure to share this with them. Share the podcast. Share our website. That's theruralpreneur.com. And if you can't spell that, there it's typed out below or around this video or audio somewhere. It's a unique word. So spelling it, imagine rural and entrepreneur combined into one word. So that's at theruralpreneur.com. That's where we've got our email newsletter, we've got articles, and of course you can find the links to our podcasts and everything. So have a great day and we'll see you soon.